Is astrology a guide to aid us in mastering the universe? This is the Cosmic Community Podcast with Galactic Ambassador Stacey Dredd. This astrology report is for the week of March 11th, and we have some pretty major events taking place this week, building up everything, of course, to that big full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo on the 14th of March, and a couple of precursor events, Mercury combusting with Venus and the Sun in a conjunction with Saturn. Also, the Sun very close in, and the Moon this week with the nodes of fate, the nodes of destiny. And this is where the eclipses come from, when we have that interplay there with the nodes. And so kind of moving into the week, things to be aware of. There's already a lot of energy that is heightening a lot of emotions right now, because the conjunction between the Sun and Saturn, a pretty major one, and the North Node all in Pisces. And Neptune is there. Neptune is the planetary ruler of Pisces, only strengthening the emotional waves and that ocean of emotion. And Pisces is also the keeper of the collective conscious and the collective unconscious thoughts. And so there's so much there. It's a very intuitive sign. This is a watery state. And so you can just be feeling a lot of emotions right now with all of that energy. And with Neptune finishing up in Pisces and thinking about moving into Aries soon. And the last degree of Pisces is the last degree of the entire zodiac. And so this is why Pisces is also the sign of endings. There are major endings taking place, and it's going to be followed by these new beginnings that Aries always promises. But right now we've got Pisces energy, Pisces endings, transformations, spiritual transformations, unconscious transformations and endings taking place that we may not even be aware of yet. Pisces houses just a lot of mystery, and Neptune is heightening all of that right now with finishing up in the sign, ready to move into new territory. Neptune will retrograde later this year and move back into Pisces. So this movement that we are going to have into Aries is followed by the retrograde back into Pisces to finish up more of the things we need to finish up there. So not until 2026 do we see the end of all of this planetary action in Pisces, when Neptune finally, gets done with that retrograde. So last time that Neptune was in Aries was in 1861. So this is a pretty major transit that we actually don't get to see more than once in a lifetime. So Neptune's movement, very, very special, and going to be putting a spotlight into new areas. So just, lots of unknowns, lots of mysteries, lots of dreaming going on right now, because Pisces rules dreams. So that's kind of how we are entering the week. And right on March 11th, on Tuesday, here on the Pacific West Coast, we have Mercury conjuncting, moving over the top of Venus while she's in retrograde. So technically this is a combustion, I believe, in astrological terms. And that just means that the planets tend to sometimes wash each other's energies out. So Venus right now and Mercury, as we speak here, are at 8 degrees, 47 minutes of Aries. And this is that point of new beginnings, right? It should be. We have these personal planets, Venus, the ruler of our heart, Mercury, the ruler of our mind, and they have moved into Aries. They should be starting new things, right? Well, that is not the case here. They're going to be dipping their toes into new territory, dreaming, still looking at those mysterious new beginnings because their energy is imminently headed back towards Pisces. Venus is retrograde. She is moving backwards through Aries and going to be moving back into Pisces. Mercury stationing retrograde this week on March 14th, within 24 hours of the Virgo full moon lunar eclipse, stationing retrograde and actually going to be moving back through the same territory that Venus is retrograding through. So much happening right now in the first 10 degrees of Aries and the last 10 degrees of Pisces. So check out your astrological birth chart because this is going to be the area of life that's going to be affecting you personally, whichever house is lining up with those final degrees of Pisces and those beginning degrees of Aries. We are doing a lot of work here and it's not done. It's going to take some time, not until later in April do we see this energy start to move on. And these two, Mercury and Venus, are going to be moving together basically until May 1st, doing this whole retrograde together. So not just one retrograde here, but two. And so what is this? Like where in your life are you seeing these endings that need to take place? These dreams of these new beginnings, these hopes, these setups. There's like these big setups right now, if you recognize, of these new beginnings. And it's like, they're not quite ready to take hold yet. They're not quite ready to happen yet. We still have so much work to turn back around and take care of and endings to complete. So that's how we start the week. But also basically we have Sun and Saturn in a conjunction together as we start this week too. So two planetary conjunctions here. We got energies blending and working on things very hard together. See, Saturn is a worker and the Sun in Pisces is working to have these endings. The last 10 degrees of Pisces is like, we are hell-bent on making sure that we're going to see these things wrapped up one way or another. And because we have the North Node here in the end of Pisces, we may not even intend on some of these endings to take place, but the energies at play, fate, destiny here with the North Node is begging us to release and surrender in Pisces. Saturn taking this very seriously this week. I've actually heard some astrologers that I follow say that this could be one of the toughest weeks of the whole year. I don't know about that. That just, depends on how this is affecting you and the energies that are coming in for you. And so a toughness to Saturn and the Sun coming together in these final degrees of Pisces. Saturn is a serious energy. This is where we get down to business. Saturn is ambitious and has goals and sets goals and takes steps to see them come through. This is wonderful, wonderful energy when the Sun comes through, that our personal ego and identity is all tied up in the Sun. This is our sort of our focus, that we're taking in. And so Sun+Saturn, our focus is on Saturn, on the serious side of things, on responsibilities, on taking care of things that are needing to be done. This can be like a wet blanket type of energy. Also, Saturn is known as sort of a malefic in a way, sort of a colder energy that can put boundaries on. It says no a lot. You can hear the word know a lot during the times when you have Saturn transits going on. So this could be sort of a no week. This could be we've reached the end and this is the boundary. Boom. This could be the week where you decide to set some really strong boundaries in terms of things that are coming to an end, in things that are looking like they are wrapping up right now. We could be taking this time period as a moment to make some decisions. Saturn is decisions, and these final degrees of Pisces are whether or not we want these fateful things to happen. They're going to happen. The lunar eclipse that is coming later this week will ensure success either way in terms of benevolence for life and for energetic flow. So just speaking of source energy and speaking of intelligences that may be at play here that are greater than you and I, that are greater than our understanding, I wanted to bring in a clip of a gentleman named Terence McKenna speaking some of his own truths. This was recorded in 1998, and I just wanted to bring some of these source spirit intuitive messages through with some of these amazing gurus that I've come into contact with. Terence McKenna here.
Well, novelty is not necessarily good or nice. Novelty is complex. That's what it is. And so I see really a concatenation of tendencies and forces here at the end. It's only going to get weirder. The level of contradiction is going to rise excruciatingly, even beyond the excruciating present levels of contradiction. So I think it's just going to get weirder and weirder and weirder, and finally it's going to be so weird that people are going to have to talk about how weird it is. And at that point, novelty theory can come out of the woods, because eventually people are going to say, what the hell is going on? It's just too nuts. It's not enough to say it's nuts. You have to explain why it's so nuts. So between now and 2012, the next 14 years, I look for the invention of artificial life, the cloning of human beings, possible contact with extraterrestrials, possible human immortality, and at the same time, appalling acts of brutality, genocide, race baiting, homophobia, famine, starvation, because the systems which are in place to keep the world sane are utterly inadequate to the forces that have been unleashed. The collapse of the socialist world, the rise of the internet, these are changes so immense, nobody could imagine them ever happening. And now that they have happened, nobody even bothers to mention what a big deal it is. The fact that there is no such thing as the Soviet Union, people never talk about it anymore. But when I was a kid, the notion that that would ever change was beyond conceiving. So the good news is that as primates, we're incredibly adaptable to change. Put us in a desert, we survive. Put us in the jungle, we survive. Under Hitler, we survive. Under Nixon, we survive. We can put up with about anything, and it's a good thing because we're going to be tested to the limits. The breakdown of anything, and this is why the right wing is so alarmed, because what they see going on is the breakdown of all tradition, all order, all sanctioned norms of behavior. And they're quite right that it's happening, but they're quite wrong to conclude that it should be resisted or is somehow evil. The mushroom said to me once, it said, "This is what it's like when a species prepares to depart for the stars. You don't depart for the stars under calm and orderly conditions. It's a fire in a madhouse." And that's what we have, the fire in the madhouse at the end of time. This is what it's like when a species prepares to move on to the next dimension. The entire destiny of all life on the planet is tied up in this. We are not acting for ourselves or from ourselves. We happen to be the point species on a transformation that will affect every living organism on this planet at its conclusion.
That's some quoting from Terence McKenna. He is, he's a very interesting fellow who I've come across, and very much a psychedelic guru, and speaks of plant medicine and plant knowledge there. And don't even know how to follow that up at all, and won't even try. So hope that was interesting for you. This is what it's like when a species plans to depart for the stars. Very interesting. And, we are in a way departing for the stars during this week, because we are in the eclipse portal and we are moving into our full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo at 23 degrees of Virgo on the evening of March 13th, actually. The Pacific West Coast, it's 11:54 p.m. So basically midnight as the day shifts from the 13th to the 14th. And we are actually going to be able to see this lunar eclipse. The moon will turn a blood red color, so you'll be able to see that. You do have to be out there during the evening times and find your local time zone, of course. But this is a Pisces-Virgo axis eclipse here. So we've talked a lot about Pisces, but let's talk about Virgo. Virgo is the opposite energy of Pisces, and all of the mystery that lives in Pisces, you could say Virgo is the opposite of that. Virgo is not really into mystery. It's more into details and facts and planning and getting things done and being really like detail oriented. And Virgo is not just a planner and a butt whooper. They're somebody who knows how to detox themselves too. Like, this is a detoxing energy. And so this is where, like, detoxing, like pushing anything out of your system that's not needed. And this is the South Node in Virgo. So South Node already wants to boot things out. It wants to get rid of the things that aren't serving, and that aren't the energies and the things in life that, aren't serving your greater good. So anything this week that leaves your life, it's easy to get fearful about things that go, but just like the Rumi poem, The Guest House, says, this being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness, some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they are a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably. They may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice. Meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whatever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. And these messages from very, very powerful spiritual figures coming in, and really hope that helps bring some clarity to how you can work with with the energies this week. There is definitely an unexpected sort of surprising aspect with Uranus involved in a sextile during the full moon. So don't be surprised if something surprising happens and it puts you on a course for the future, because these times that we have in these eclipses are cosmic course correctors. We're working with energies and intelligences that have our most benevolent outcomes in mind. So knowing that, we can just rest easy and have a wonderful week ahead. And I'll be chatting with you again soon. Thank you for listening to the Cosmic Community Astrology with Galactic Ambassador Stacey Dredd.
Thank you for listening to the Cosmic Community Podcast. More can be found at kpov.org/thecosmiccommunity.